How's it going, you guys? Damocles here, and today a new patch dropped for Pokemon Unite that buffed and nerfed a bunch of characters, and this video is just going to be showing you the pre-patch damage values versus the post-patch damage values in the practice tool. I hope you find this to be useful and informational. It was a pain in the butt to make. I don't know if I'm going to make one again, but that's what this video is about. I'm just going to be voicing over, my opinions on the changes, and just friendly reminder, 20k subs, doing a $20 eShop giveaway, so make sure you sub and subscribe. Let's hop into it. Okay, so starting off with Charizard, he saw some buffs to his Flamethrower and his Fire Blast, and then some weird changes to how his abilities work. Like, the official patch notes just say, effects on opposing Pokemon strengthened, and, cooldown reduced, but it doesn't seem to, apply to absolutely everything. The Flamethrower seems to do a little bit more damage, but the Fire Blast doesn't seem to, and his Fire Punch doesn't seem to have any significant change. I tried to see if maybe the burn lasted for longer, or the burn did more damage, or maybe the knockback was more significant, but it doesn't really seem like it, so I'm not really sure. I wish they would just give us more specific patch notes. As far as the actual specific damage numbers are concerned, you can see it on the screen, so I'm not going to go dive really deep into it. I can also link you to 7 different websites that I'm sure have it, the specific percentages. But really what I want to talk about is this going to change his standing in the game? And I kind of feel like it is. I feel like it's going to bump him up a little bit. Charizard, when I made my Charizard guide, was pretty strong, and then they hit him with a nerf, and then he got it hit him hard, not gonna lie, and I think this might just bring him back to where he was originally. So I think Charizard, running him in the jungle again, going a more Flamethrower build might be the go-to build now. So make sure you stay tuned for that. As far as Talonflame is concerned, Talonflame's early game got a fairly significant buff. Acrobatics, even though you don't have it for too long, it's the main source of his jungle clear, or her jungle clear, whatever Talonflame is. It's the main force of its jungle clear, and it's the main force of its early game damage, so having that be buffed is really helpful. I don't think the Aerial Ace changes, even though they are a decent bump up in damage. I don't know how much they're going to actually change his playstyle, though. Alright, let's hop into Venusaur. So Venusaur saw some decent buffs, but I still kind of feel like it's going to be the same position that it was before. The Solar Beam buffs are definitely helpful and needed, specifically the cooldown reduction, because that's going to make him a poking machine later on. I mean, his cooldown is basically, I think it's 5 seconds now for Solar Beam, once you have Solar Beam Plus, which also reduces its cooldowns. And so if you can make it through that early game, and you can not get touched by enemies, his sniping ability, along with his increased damage on his Unite move, should make him a nice little niche with a more a poke heavy team composition. But we'll just have to actually see, as the weeks goes on, if this is going to be significant at all. As for Absol, I'm so shocked that they buffed her. Because if some of you guys don't know, the build that I love to run is Pursuit, but Absol's Night Slash, a lot of people have been running it with great success because it really does a lot of damage and removes that positional requirement that Pursuit has, which kind of becomes a weakness later on in the game. So them buffing that could mean disaster for people that don't like Absol. So go try that out for sure. Wigglytuff got some buffs that is hard to show in the practice tool, but basically she's almost as tanky as some of the tankiest defenders in the game right now. So she's gonna be a force if her kit doesn't slow her down. So Sing, it's hard to tell the difference between Sing before and Sing after. I think that it just made it maybe apply the sleep a little bit faster, but the double slap damage is definitely increased. So I think Wigglytuff, because of those stat bonuses, I think she might actually be more of a meta pick now that Eldegoss has gotten nerfed. Oh goodness, now on to Cinderace, my boy. They nerfed his damage in what I would determine as a significant way, just because with basic attacks and reducing attacks overall across the board, it puts him in, it significantly slows down his jungle clear, in my opinion, and it makes it so when you're scaling, you don't have that same oomph. I think he's still going to be the go-to 80 carry pick. I'm not sure if Greninja can just like one-on-one him now with basic attacks. And I 100% don't think Pyro Ball is going to be the go-to, but it's going to make Cinderace a lot more counterable because Feint does not last as long anymore, and his damage has definitely been reduced. Haunter. For Gengar, I think that the Shadow Ball Dream Eater build is actually kind of scary. Shadow Ball's damage was basically like doubled if you're looking at the screen, and which is kind of creepy, even though it is a skill shot. Dream Eater also is pretty dang good. It's CC and a nuke, and it does pretty solid damage. Doesn't come close to the Hex damage, and I think that Hex is probably still the better damage option, because they didn't like I mean, they nerfed its damage a little bit, but you can still spam it despite the, you know, there is a bug going on in the game right now where sometimes Hex like doesn't apply apparently, or like it's missing. I don't know, it's bugged right now. So I would go and give Dream Eater a shot because it actually does like hit like a truck, but it's more of just like that single target. It's not like that AoE burst damage like Hex Gengar was. But I think that now it's at least a viable option if they choose to nerf Hex even further, right? Like before it was like, oh, Shadow Ball, Dream Eater, not good. Now Shadow Ball the damage is literally doubled, and Dream Eater puts you to sleep and it lets him teleport to you. So it's like that build is more like a single target assassin build, and I think it's gonna surprise a lot of people. But I think that Hex, once they fix the bug that's associated with it, is still probably gonna be the go-to if you still choose to actually play Gengar after these nerfs. I tried to try different little combinations with both of these abilities just so you could actually see the damage differences, but it's somewhat hard to tell, you know, what is bugged, what isn't bugged, what's missing. But I'm kind of excited to be able to try the Dream Eater build. And at the very least, maybe this bug and these changes will make people try out other jungle picks. I don't know. But Gengar, I still think that he is going to be strong. It's just scaling-wise, it's probably not going to hurt as badly as it was before because the damage of Hex has been reduced, you know. But I was kind of expecting more, to be honest, right? Like as far as the patch notes are concerned, they're very vague. So I was expecting a lot worse. I was expecting maybe they only limit Hex to a couple of resets, but it looks like the Hex resets are the same. Before the patch, you could land 4 without it going on cooldown, and now you can still land 4 without going on cooldown. Zeraora, unfortunately I didn't get his Unite move in this video, but Wild Charge's damage was increased a fairly significant amount. I still think Discharge is just going to be the better play. It's I don't know, I just think it's going to be the better play. It's so useful. You don't have to, it's a really easy noob button, and so probably won't see too many changes with Zeraora. Cramorant though, this might not seem like a big deal because you don't have Whirlpool for a large portion of the game, right? You get rid of it early, but it is a massive portion of what makes Cramorant strong in lane at the start in order to get, you know, steal APOMs and stuff like that. So that's going to hit his laning phase significantly, and really that's all Cramorant has, so Crammans should not be happy about this, and the dive changes did absolutely nothing. What they should have done is increase the range of dive. That would have made it a lot better, in my opinion. I don't think nobody's using dive for damage. They're using it to reposition, so I just don't think that is a really useful change in my book. As for Machamp, they nerfed his cross chop damage fairly significantly. I think it still might be the go-to because it increases his crit rate afterwards, so that buff might be useful. But close combat, here's the thing. The nice thing about submission is that you're immune to hindrances, right? The nice thing about close combat is the same exact thing, except it's a more damaging ability. So now people might be running submission and close combat, so when you're submitting people, you're immune to damage, and then when you're using close combat and actually dealing damage, you're immune to CC as well. And so it makes close combat a little bit more of an interesting choice, but I don't know. I'm curious to see if the buffs, like the buff that cross chop gives you to your crit rate, is going to still make it the optimal choice. But I really think people just picked it for damage, so I think close combat might end up being what people go with, just just because of that immunity, you know? Lucario, this is me trying to demonstrate the Lucario bug. This is pre-nerf Lucario. And I do consider the bug fix a nerf because before, the damage from his power-up punch was applying after. It was applying to the basic attack after the punch, and now it's not. So he loses about 600 damage, you know, at the base level there, in my opinion. A little hard to show some of the Eldegoss changes, but I tried my best. I got hit and then healed. The heal has been reduced significantly. The shield looks like it's been reduced a tad too. So I think Eldegoss is still going to be a meta pick, let's be real, guys, because he just does stuff that other supports can't do. But I do think that the counterplay is going to be there now. I think it's going to be a significantly easier laning phase, right? Like, what were the numbers? I think it went from 175 to like 104 there. That's significant. You know, that's almost 100 point heal change. And so he might not be as oppressive in lane, but those shields and the heals and the movement speed really is what makes him so incredibly amazing. I tried to demonstrate the Unite move here. I don't have other people to heal, but the damage was buffed. I don't think anybody's using Eldegoss Unite move for damage. They're using it for the heal on their team. So I don't know. In the future, if I do another one of these videos, maybe I'll run it with another person, or I'll damage myself further. But you can still see the heal is quite significant, and the move damage, you know, it hurts. But nobody's playing Eldegoss for move damage, so I don't know. But that's gonna be it for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Damocles out.